is a huge, huge honor today to be talking to Andy Jensen, who's the man from Curve Dental. And I just want to start. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing super. This is a great opportunity. I appreciate it.
I know your real age. How do you look so young at that age? I'm not going to say your age. Maybe you're embarrassed about it, but God dang, you look like you're 30 at most.
It's this mountain living, good air, I guess.
The good mountain living. But
Yeah.
the reason I wanted you to do this is because I still think that a lot of dentists, they, humans are territorial, so they want their server in their ranch. I mean, it's the old farm mentality. You want to make your own butter, you want your own chickens, pigs, corn, the whole nine yards. And I like the analogy of I read a book once. I forgot what it was called, but it basically talked about cloud computing versus electricity. When they started electricity, everybody owned their own burners. And if you want electricity, you were shoveling coal and firewood around the clock and hiring these cheap immigrant Irish people like me to shovel coal. And then there was a man named Tesla who said, you know what, let's instead of direct current, let's do alternating current, and let's have a central cloud-based facility where you can get out of the coal and firewood industry, and we'll just run a line to your house, and we can do the whole city. And that met a lot of resistance. And Edison didn't see that vision. Is that correct?
I believe, yeah, Tesla had a handle on that one.
Yeah, and so right now, I always thought it was strange when you look at these franchises that every franchise should be working on their business and their customers, but they're having to install computers and do backups and put up firewalls and get hacked into, and it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I would think a franchise should centralize all their computing, and all their franchisees should just have dummy terminals. So is that what Curve Dental is all about? Is it all about cloud-based computing so your dental office has, quote, dummy terminals? Are they dummy terminals? Or explain the technical side of what your unique selling proposition was.
It's on the cloud. So the doctor's patient data is not sitting anywhere in the practice, which is a key when it comes to security. And you've already talked about data backup. I mean, if your data is not local, you don't need to worry about that backup. It's more secure, and it's backed up with Curve Dental. It's backed up every second. It's being backed up. So you talked about electricity. In order for a doctor to have their own electricity generator, all that type of stuff is very expensive. If you were to try to duplicate the type of security and infrastructure that we have, it would cost millions of dollars to do that. But because we've already spent that money, we can relay that cost across all of our customers, and everyone's just paying a monthly subscription for that same security.
But it's an emotional deal. I mean, every rancher wants to have his own chickens and pigs and corn, all that stuff. But tell them their day-to-day lives that's already on the clouds. I mean, when you log on to your Facebook page, that information is not in your phone or computer.
No.
Same with YouTube, Gmail. Talk about where they're already living on the cloud and don't know it.
Well, let's hit it where it really hurts, and that's the wallet, right? Look, everyone that I know of is banking online. They're not going to take their dollars and shove it underneath a mattress, correct? I mean, I can understand why you want to have your own chickens and stuff, but when it comes to money, you're not shoving dollars underneath your mattress. And why don't you do that? Because the bank is more capable of keeping those dollars safe than you are. And the same with data. Because of our infrastructure, because of the backup, and because of all these things, we're more capable of keeping that data safe than having it sitting in a server in a broom closet next to the mop.
So you're up there in Orem, Utah, and in Provo, Utah is the god of dentistry, where all good obedient dentists like me made our pilgrimage there. About I think I went there a dozen times with Mike Detola for everyone at Gordon's 2-day courses. And that's up the street was where Dentrix was started. And you were, 16 years with Dentrix? What made you leave the security of big old mothership Dentrix, which has got to be the market leader, is it not? Don't most dental offices have Dentrix? And it's owned by Henry Schein. Yep. And what made you leave the mothership and all that security and safety to go start Curve Dental?
Well, first of all, Henry Schein is a great company to work for. They take care of their employees, and I had a wonderful time there. I started working for a small company called Dentrix Dental Systems in 1996. I believe. They had 225 customers, and I helped build that brand into a powerhouse. They've got, I don't know, 25, 30,000 customers now. But I had an opportunity to leave. I did, and after I left, I was contacted by one of the principals at Dentrix, a gentleman by the name of Jim Pack, who said, you need to go check out this company called Curve Dental. So I went.
Who was that guy? Jim who?
Jim Pack,
Pack?
Pack.
So was he from Dentrix and had gone to Curve before you?
Yeah, he had left Dentrix a few years prior to my leaving the company, and then he had run into the founder of Curve Dental, a young man by the name of Matt Dory, who was looking for someone to run the company. Matt was 21 years old at the time, and needed an experienced CEO to actually run the company. After I left Dentrix, Jim Pratt called me and said, would you like to come and check us out? And I did, and saw some really, really exciting things. Number one of those being the cloud, because quite frankly, when I was at Dentrix, we had conversations about moving Dentrix to the cloud, but there were a lot of challenges and obstacles to doing that. And moving to Curve Dental, joining Curve Dental provided that opportunity to build a new brand in dentistry with dental software, specifically on the cloud.
And can I make a real world example of what you just said of my favorite? I got an MBA from ASU. My favorite. I love economics probably as much as dentistry, but it was Joseph Schumpeter, the Austrian economist, who came up with creative destructionism, and he said you're never going to have progress if you don't spend your time destroying old infrastructures to build a new. And America is the most creative destruction. If you look at the 1950 S&P 500, only 12% of those companies are still in existence today. So from 1950 to 2015, and that's just 65 years, we destroyed 88% of the Fortune 500, which means we have the healthiest economy. And that's what biology does. I mean, I'm going to die and be replaced by my granddaughter who's 3 and doesn't know what country she lives in. And that's the better model. So these older companies, it's harder to change them. They always get ran over from behind because you can't. And everybody should revisit their own business model and say, how am I going to get ran over from behind? It was my favorite book by Andy Grove, Only the Paranoid Survive. He said you got to spend more time looking in the rearview mirror than you do out your windshield. Because if you're always staring out your windshield, you're going to get smeared from behind. So Dentrix wouldn't go cloud, and you did.
Well, yeah. Well, they had talked about it many times. I've been in many meetings at Dentrix where we had challenges with we had to get an upgrade out to all of our customers. Sending a physical disc to every one of our customers would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. That problem is completely solved when you're on the cloud because it's a click of the mouse, and all of our customers have that upgrade instantly. Dr. Farran, you were one maybe 3 years ago. You said in Dental Town magazine, you said any company that is not looking at building on the cloud now is in risk of losing their market share. Now, I don't know if that's true yet, but I believe it will be true if not this year, next year. I'm sure that Dentrix practices using Dentrix, EagleSoft, all these, client server applications. Those doctors are looking at the cloud. They're on the cloud every day, and they're thinking, if I'm on the cloud at home, why am I not on the cloud at work? DPR recently did a survey. 47%, almost half of all the respondents said that they would be on the cloud in 3 years. So there's a big migration. It probably started last year, and you have a migration of doctors moving from Windows, from client server to the cloud. In 4 years, 65% are going to be on the cloud.
Well, in 1950, average overhead in a dental office was under 50%, and in 2015, it was over 65%. So we've gone up 15%. And when you look at dentist overhead sheets, and I've looked at a gazillion of them, you're always paying all this money for IT people, for hardware, something happens, the backup. How many dentists have you heard that their computer crashed went to get the backup, and the backup was saving the C drive, and it's supposed to save the D
Yeah.
drive. Talk about nightmares about backups, and because when you sit there and talk about, well, if your dental office is burned down, that doesn't make sense. I don't think any dentist wakes up in the middle of the night and worries about his dental office burning down or getting hit by a meteorite or lightning. But what are real world daily stories you've heard of people losing their data? What have you heard?
Well, interesting thing, if you go to our website, we actually keep a collection of horror stories. So you can find out.
No way. Do you really?
Yes, we keep a collection, and any doctor can contribute, so you can find it there. But look, two things. The number one reason, yeah, I have doctors call in and they go, all right, my server crashed. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm getting that server out of my practice. It's a pain in the butt. There's HIPAA requirements and security rules that I don't want to deal with, all those types of things. So yes, I don't want to have to deal with a backup that may or may not restore. Some IT guys say that you're really rolling the dice when it comes to restoring a backup, 50-50. 50% is going to make it, 50%, like you said, are backing up the C drive. The other one, think about theft, though. Theft is another reason why the cloud makes a lot of sense. We had a doctor in Vancouver, went to work in the morning, and the door was jimmied open. He walks in, all his computers are gone. But it's, there's an emotional response there, but he called his wife. His wife brought down a laptop, and they were able to see all their patients for the day. They didn't have to cancel any appointments. How much production did he save for a day or two or three? He saved it all. He didn't have to worry about that HIPAA concern. He didn't have to tell his customers, his patients, that, hey, yeah, some creepy guy now has all of your data. That he didn't have to worry about that either.
Oh my
So,
God, you just reminded me of a story. Sorry to interrupt, but I got to tell you the story. When I first opened my dental office, and 4 or 5 years into it, my security went off in the middle of the night, and when the security alarm went off, the company would call my house, and they told me that my alarm would go. So, I had 4 young kids and a wife, and jumped in my car and drove down there. When I got down there, the door was open. I don't know what happened. I couldn't find anything going on, but the police showed up right behind me. This old police officer said, dude, are you married? And I said, yeah. He goes, do you got any babies? Yeah. He goes, if you ever come down here again, he goes, why are you going to get shot for a bunch of idiots stealing your computers? He goes, you don't ever do it. You walk in a dental office with no weapon. You're not. That's what we're here for. And he goes, if you got 4 kids, I want you to uninstall that stupid security alarm, because you need to stay in bed with those 4 kids. You don't need to be down here in the middle of the night in Phoenix, Arizona, which is just batshit crazy world. I mean, it's crazy out here. And so I did. I told the security people, just call the police. Do not call me, because I'm so dumb. I'll go down there. So if someone said to you, Andy, I'm on Dentrix, owned by Schein. I'm on EagleSoft, owned by Patterson. I'm on SoftDent, which is owned by a different person every 49 minutes. Why should I switch to Curve? Is it just well, I've been on SoftDent since 1987 till now. I'm still on SoftDent. But it was bought by an Atlanta company that I think it's owned by a company that owns Practice Works. It was Kodak, now CareStream. It's always someone different. But why does people switch to Curve Dental just because it's the cloud-based play? Is that your unique selling proposition? Is that what you guys are all about?
well, it's definitely a unique selling proposition when they're looking at the client server stuff, right? I mean, if you're moving from Dentrix to EagleSoft, that's a lateral move. I don't understand the advantages. If you move from Dentrix to EagleSoft, you may gain some features, but you're going to lose some too, that's for sure. So what is the advantage from moving from one client system to another? There is none, really. But if you move from client server to the cloud, there are a number of benefits that you're going to immediately enjoy. And that has to do with all the things we've already talked about. No server, data security is better, data backup, you never have to worry about that. The upgrades, you never have to install upgrades. They just appear automatically. And what about data accessibility? There's a thing about, there's emphasis these days on work style. These younger doctors, I want to work from the coffee shop. I want to work at home in bed. I mean, if you're on the cloud, that's a natural extension, natural advantage of the cloud is being able to access your data whenever from wherever. All you need is a computer with internet access, and bam, you have access to your data in the same user experience that you would at work. So those are the advantages.
And another advantage of working from anywhere is that old 80/20 rule. About 20% of humans just naturally love to work. The non-workers call us workaholics, but if you want to sit home and watch Jerry Springer, I mean, how many football games can you watch on Sunday? But I've heard so many stories that when the whole staff has access to the dental office management information software, a lot of times the receptionist or the office manager on a Sunday night logs on work. You're not even paying her, and she's logging on and crunching an insurance agent report or doing this or that. And I've always had my staff been able to dial into my computer because it's the same. I'd say about 7 employees out of my 55 they're just like me. They're just born to work, and we don't. So being able to have your team to sit there and be wondering, I wonder what will happen to Andy Jensen. I wonder if his insurance paid. I wonder if he came in, and just to sit down while they're thinking about it and log on, just like they would be checking Facebook or checking, Pinterest or whatever, and just log on and do work. I think it's amazing.
This lifestyle thing, the cloud allows you to spend more time with what's important to you. For example, I know there's a lot more women are entering the dental market, the dental profession as doctors, and many of these women are also trying to balance family, being a mother, and then having a family with running a full-time practice. If you're on the cloud, as an example, you can leave at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, be home with the kids, take care of the kids, put kids to bed, and then after that time, you can log in and finish up charts or do whatever else you need to do. It allows you to mold your lifestyle around your work style.
Yeah, but the better advice would be just to not get married and don't ever have children. Wouldn't you say that, Andy? I mean, just think how much more time and money you'd have if you never made those 2 critical mistakes of getting married and having children. I say that while my son Ryan is looking at me. And so in economics, they taught us at MBA school that price is always the biggest factor. What's the price of Curve Dental? And by the way, when I do these podcasts, Andy's not paying me. This isn't a commercial. I always figure I'm real. I'm a real dentist. I'm curious, so you can be curious too. Nobody pays to get on the Howard's my podcast. There's no money changing hands. This is just intellectual curiosity. But how much is Curve Dental? And is the entrance price be the same for Dentrix, EagleSoft, and SoftDent? I mean, are we talking even Steven, or do you have to pay a lump? Is it a monthly subscription fee? How's the price work?
Well, so it's a monthly subscription fee, and whether it's more or less than what you're paying now on for Dentrix or EagleSoft depends on the doctor. To get onto Curve, we have the same upfront costs that you might find anywhere else. There's conversion services that we need to do. There's training. There's some implementation things that we need to do, configuration. So there's an upfront fee. It ranges on what your needs are. But after that, we have 4 packages. The first package starts at $350 per month for a 1 doctor practice. And then you can work your way up.
And what percent of practices would you say are 1 doc these days?
Our customers, that's pretty much our bread and butter. But we have a good number of practices with 3, 4 doctors and multiple locations as well. But
it's still a majority. Would you say 75% 1 doctor of your customers?
Easily.
Maybe 85?
Maybe 76?
Yeah, so 3 out of 4.
Yes.
Dentistry is still a cottage industry, and it's still. I mean, I think it's funny how you go to Wichita, Kansas, and Heartland will come in and open up 1 corporate dentistry, and the other 400 dentists all just freak out. And you just look at the percentages. These guys are 1% of the noise and 1% of the reality and 99% of the noise. You know what I mean?
True.
But dentistry is still a solo practicing.
It is, but that noise is getting louder. I mean, the number of doctors, number of organizations that are contacting us about multiple location is certainly growing, and it's exciting. It's an exciting thing to be with, to work with too.
So go through your 4 packages. The first 1 doc, $350 a month. You said there was a 2 and a 3 and a 4.
Yeah, so basic package is front office, back office needs, support, those types of things. We also offer a package. Doctors want that automated appointment reminder system. Email and text. We can offer that. That's additional package. If a doctor wants to use our native digital imaging capabilities, we have another package for that. And if they want the whole thing, we have a what we call the Curve Superhero package, and they can have that too.
And how much is that?
Curve Superhero package starts at $600 per month.
And what did you use the word native? Native what?
Native digital imaging.
Okay, I assume that no one knows what that means.
Yeah.
What is native digital imaging?
Well, so can we use Dentrix or Patterson as an example? If you want to have digital imaging as part of your management software, that's something else you have to install. That's something else that has to be maintained. With us, it's just a click of the mouse, and now you're taking images. There's nothing else to install. There's nothing else to worry about. It's there. It's part of the management system. It's just like clicking from the chart to billing. It's
so you have a bridge then.
It's not a bridge. It's native. It's part of the software.
Oh, so that's opposite of what a bridge is, huh?
Yeah. So there is no bridging. There's no integration. It's there.
Well, I always hated on mine that when I want to pull up an X-ray, it takes a while. I mean, you sit there waiting to pull up the X-rays, the digital X-rays.
And that's with a server, right?
Yeah.
So I hear that from doctors all the time as well. So if you're on the internet, it must be slow to bring up an X-ray. But you just gave me a great example of sometimes I was on Dentrix at a trade show. I tried to bring up an X-ray and it would take, 30 seconds to come up. So I really don't see any differences there. The neat thing about our imaging software, and it's unique to Curve, is that you can plug and play almost any of the most popular digital X-ray sensors, and we'll capture that image directly to the cloud. It's not being stored on your hard drive and then uploaded at night or whatever. It's instantaneously uploaded right to the cloud.
Okay, but the 4,000-pound elephant in the room is these new CBCTs. I mean, these are enormously huge files. How does that work?
Well, they also, when you buy one of those things, you also buy a server that comes with it because a server is required.
So you would save those in your office?
Yeah, they're so massive that you can't. It just doesn't make sense right now.
And do you think that'll change? Because I've also read that. I just read in the a good source that something in the United States between like 7 and 9 p.m. like 70% of the internet in America is consumed just by Netflix movies being thrown across the internet. Did you read that? Is that true?
Oh, it's got to be true because in my house I only have 2 daughters living in the home now, and yes, that is true. Netflix is taking up all my bandwidth.
How many children did you have?
5 that I know of.
5 that you know of, and how many boys and girls?
My oldest is a son, and I got 4 girls.
And who do you think caused more trouble, my 4 boys or your 4 girls? Which I have no hair left, and you look 10 years younger than me, so girls must be easier to raise.
The jury's still out, but so far it's been girls have been great. But yeah, boys doing great too.
Right on. So what else did you want to talk about? I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I think that we talked about I just want to stress that from my perspective, I see what doctors are interested in, and I just see this migration from client server to the cloud. It's happening, and any doctor that thinks that they need to stay with client server and is spending money, I mean, look, if you're buying a client server system these days, one of the big 3, you're going to spend anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 on software that is decades old. Why would you spend dollars on software that is outdated? The current technology platform is the cloud. Dr. Farran, if you were to start a software company tomorrow, you would not make that software something that has to be installed. It would be cloud-based, and that's what I mean by current technology platform. It's the cloud. Dentrix and EagleSoft for these guys, I'm sure they're working on the cloud. They're working on something, but they have their best developers are now focused on the cloud. How much time are they really focusing on their client-server software? They're not. That's not a good business bet to be putting more resources into technology that's decades old. You want to put those dollars into something that's new and what is current, and that's the cloud. And we've been there for 10 years, 11 now.
So I want to ask some other. They say success is related to how many uncomfortable questions you want to ask. When I go into these dental schools, back in 15 years ago, it was all Microsoft. You go into these dental schools, every one of those kids is on Apple. You're talking to a lot of dental students right now. Most of the fans of my show are under 30. What if you're a big Apple fan?
Doesn't matter. Again, it's a web-based application, so it doesn't matter if it's Apple, PC. It doesn't matter. You could have a mix in your practice. You could have PCs in the operatories, Macs at the front desk and in the office. It doesn't matter.
So because it's on the cloud, Curve Dental, it doesn't matter if it's a PC or a Apple?
No, we are.
And do you have to buy the special Apples that run both Microsoft and Apple?
No.
Just a straight Apple, because you know what I'm talking about. There's Apple computers where you can toggle back and forth between Microsoft and Apple, right?
Yes.
But you don't need that.
You don't need that. Look, you can. All you need is Google Chrome, which is you can install on a Mac and you can install it on a PC. The catch here is not with our software. The catch is how many different digital X-ray sensors on the market have a true Apple driver. That's the restriction here. And as to my knowledge, I think there's only one sensor out there that has a true Mac compatible driver.
And what's that?
It's the Pro sensor.
From who?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I can't remember.
But it's Pro sensor.
Yes.
Huh. So what percent of your clients under 30 are using Curve on an Apple, would you guess?
Oh, wow. I would think that a third of our customers are probably 100% Mac-based, and there's a certain percentage that are probably mixed, but the most of them are PC.
Huh, I would have never known that. That's why I do these podcasts. I mean, I look at podcasts, when I was little, my mom cruel and tortured me into piano lessons, and I used to hate them. And now I love podcasts because it's really my version of a piano lesson you love. Every day I get to spend an hour talking to some smart dude like you and learn so much. Okay, the other 4,000-pound gorilla, and this is the big issue of mine always, is these dentists they buy this practice management software, but it doesn't do payables, receivables, it doesn't do payroll, and then they're accepting PPOs, they're accepting 10 different fee schedules. And they're getting paid 10 different prices. They don't even know what their cost. How come the staff doesn't clock in and clock out? How come when they send a PPO fee schedule, you don't enter all your fees and it says, "Hey Andy, you spent," and call me Howard, by the way, not Dr. Farran. Andy, we're paying you $880 is about the average PPO price for a crown, and the schedule says you spent an hour and a half doing that crown, and we divided out all your expenses by an hour and a half, and it cost you $480 to do this, $880. When is that? How much further down the road until a dentist knows their cost?
How much further down the road? Well, Rome
because
was
you got Quicken Online.
Right.
I mean, that's in the cloud. These dentists are already cloud-based Quicken. And I called Quicken. They said they have crack teams that specialize in merging their Quicken with different verticals, whether it be Hertz Rent-A-Car or whatever. How much longer until these dentists can look at a fee schedule and know their cost?
Well, that's a great. This is awesome, Dr. Farran, because.
Oh, now I'm back to Dr. Farran. I've gone from Howard to that little shit.
I think we're going to have an integration with Quicken. I think the boys in the development team are going to hate me for this, but we're going to have an integration with Quicken before probably Q2 of this year, and that means that all. Yes, so all of your receivables and all that information is going to be shared with the doctor's account with Quicken automatically, and that'll be pretty awesome. So that's one step. The second step is, like you said, time clock. That is something that we need to tackle and something that our customers are asking for. So it's it's a process. We're going to get there.
That is the best news I've heard in 2016. I mean, because Andy, I mean, you can talk to every consultant on earth. They'll all tell you that humans think that it's best to work hard and work really hard. And they don't know their costs, so they'll go in there and they're taking 10 PPOs and they'll cancel 3, and that'll cancel the cost of, all the lab supplies and all that stuff, and their production will go down and their net income will go up. I mean, the dentists, they don't know. They'll have a hygienist and they'll say, I think I'm going to need a second one. And I say, okay, well, your hygienist surely just did a clean exam and x-ray for $100. What was your break-even point? They go, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And I go, then how do you know you want 2? I can go into dental offices and show them how many hygienists they would have to go bankrupt, because they have no idea they're running their hygiene at a loss. And they say, well, my gut feeling is profitable. And I go, your guts are filled with fecal matter. What does your fat belly filled with fecal matter have to do with your cost? They don't know. And then they would look at those PPOs, and it would clean up the industry, because if dentists start saying, okay, to do this, I have to drop composite, do amalgam. If I do this, I gotta do these things. And they make a decision not to do it. It'll clean up the difference between a Chevy and a Mercedes, whereas right now they're making a Chevy, a Pontiac, an Olds, a Buick, and a Cadillac, and their overhead somewhere in the middle. So they're taking profit dollars from the Mercedes to subsidize the Chevys they're doing at a loss, when in reality the dental market should line up as, I'm a low-cost Chevy clinic, and I'm a mid-priced Oldsmobile, and I'm a high-cost Mercedes. And right now you just have peanut butter and jelly accounting, because no one will merge their data with Quicken Online so they can get a fee schedule. And if you took that time of the schedule, the number of operatories, the hours you're open, the staff all clocking in and clocking out, I mean, I think if someone really focused on this, within a year or two, a dentist could look at his deal and says, wow, I do a composite for $250 and I only make $12. If I raise the price to $262, I double my profit on a composite. And if the PPO comes back and says, oh, we just lowered your composite fee $12, he's like, okay, well then I gotta do this faster, or I gotta switch to amalgam, or I gotta drop your plan. But right now we have Stevie Wonder accounting. Actually, it's more like Ray Charles accounting.
Dr. Farran, you and I had this conversation in Las Vegas probably 10, 12 years ago at lunch, and I know this is a favorite topic of yours, is merging that data together. And, I was with Dentrix back then, and, but anyway, that's where we're at now. And by Q2, somewhere in Q2, we should have that integration completed, and it'll be exciting.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you do that, I will be your biggest marketing deal. I will write columns on that. I will post it everywhere, because I just want my homies to be happy and healthy. And, there's 1 to 3 suicides a year just in Phoenix, Arizona. Talk to anybody about a suicide or a divorce, it's the big 3. It's a third of it's money, a third of it's sex, and a third of it's substance abuse. And these guys are so stressed out because they work so hard, and then the accountant calls them up and says, yo, the IRS, $52,000. They're like, dude, I don't have 52 cents. How could this be? And it's simply because they don't know their costs. And I'm lucky because I got just big enough where back in 2000, I had my full-time comptroller, pulling all this data in Excel. So I get it done for me, but they're not big enough for that critical mass. I mean, if you got a 5-person dental office, you're not big enough to have an HR director or a marketing director or a comptroller. They got to wear too many hats, and I think the comptroller hat could be automated.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're excited.
Any other topics you want to talk about?
Well, I think that maybe we're not the only kid on the cloud block. Maybe that's something we should talk about, is who else is on the cloud and why.
Who else is on the cloud?
Well, lo and behold, there are some other companies on the cloud. You've got Dentrix introduced something just a few years ago, and
is that Dentrix Enterprise?
It's called Dentrix Ascend. We call it something different, but I can't tell you what that is. And you've got a company out in Southern California, Planet DDS. They've been around for just as long as we have, and a few newbies on the East Coast that are just barely coming online. And so competition is good and bad. In our case, we like it because it means that there's more people talking about the cloud and the advantages and why you need to be there. So we like that. We like that.
Well, it's healthy. I've noticed. I tell these young dentists that when I opened up 28 years ago, I was so excited to meet the dentists in my town across the street because we're all in this together. And half the doors were like slammed in my face because they didn't want any competition, and the other half were like, "Oh yeah, we are buddies," and we go eat a cheeseburger and watch a football game. And now, 28 years later, guess who the millionaires are? The
Yes.
one, but the other guys were, they didn't realize that we're all in this together. We compete against, TVs and iPhones and trips to Disneyland, and the ones that always had their open door policy and embraced competition to make, and joined their trade associations and went to conventions and sang kumbaya. They always, I think in hope, growth, and abundancy, not fear and scarcity. So competition is very good for every industry.
Absolutely. For a long time, we were that single voice calling from the wilderness, if you may, that was talking about move to the cloud, move to the cloud. And look, when 10 years ago, or even when I first started with the company in 2009, end of 2009, when I started blogging about the cloud, I had companies shaking their head and go, "Oh, the cloud's it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen." A lot of people said, "Oh, the cloud, yes, it's definitely the future. It's definitely where we're going." I disagree. The future is now. You can't say the cloud is the future. The cloud is now. We're way down the path going to the cloud.
And you and I are both visionaries because I flew to Effingham, Illinois 20 years ago asking them to merge with accounting software. I flew to Melville. I flew to Provo. Who was that founder up there? It was Larry Gibson.
Correct.
I told Larry, when I was with Gordon, I flew to Melville, New York, talked to Stan Bergman after they bought Schein. I mean, I'm not going away. I know my homies. They don't know their cost. I walk in their dental office. They don't know. And I see the stress all over their face. And then they hire these $30,000 accountants or consultants. And a consultant goes in there. They can't put together the information. I mean, it would literally take a week for a CPA to go in there and figure out all your costs. If you go ask your accountant, I just did an MOD composite for $250. Tell me what my net income was, my return on asset, my return on equity. That they couldn't figure it out. The data, it's too many places. It's in paper. It's in filed taxes. They can't do it. And I know that will be the singular most important thing for the health of this industry is to get them to know their cost and to somehow try to get control on the expansion of these new dental schools. I mean, they're just. I mean, if they're going to open up another dozen dental schools, well, all you got to do is go to India or Brazil and see what happens when you open a dental school on every corner, because desperate people do desperate things, and a healthy industry needs to have managed supply and demand. And I know a lot of libertarians don't believe that, but there's really no evidence. I will go back to railroads. When the railroad started, everybody was laying a different track width. And finally, the government stepped in and created standards and said, no, we're going to have one rail width, and they picked the Roman chariot because when you go bankrupt, they want someone else's railroad to fit on yours. Imagine electricity if it wasn't managed and every house was wired for a different, 110, 112, 220, 228. Standards create wealth, and I look back in history, I see zero evidence of unfettered free trade building wealth. It actually builds chaos. It's managed competition, and there needs to be standards. They need to control the number of dental schools opening up. And you guys are going to be total visionaries. We talked about this a decade ago. If you merge this with the accounting software online, and this dentist, she can sit down and look at her reports and know exactly what her costs are for every dental procedure she does. She will make wiser, smarter, faster, better decisions.
Well, when we have it done, Dr. Farran, I'll give you a call, and maybe we'll fly down to Phoenix to show you how it works.
You're just not going to call me Howard, are you? Well, I'm sure you have family down here because I live in Phoenix since 1987, and about a third of this town has roots in Utah. Seriously, I think one out of every three of my friends has a uncle, cousin, mom, dad,
Uh,
relative in Utah.
well, in this case, my son-in-law does have roots in Phoenix, but I don't. So I guess
Well,
that
you do
counts.
through your son-in-law.
Yes.
So you do have roots to feed. But yeah, Andy, come on down. And when you get this, come down, demo it. I want to, and my team, you could, when you lay this out, you can, I'll give you my comptroller, my office manager, and my time till as many hours as you need,
Wonderful.
to show you what we're doing and what we need to do.
Okay.
And man, yeah, it's just cost. I mean, you go into Intel and ask them, well, how much? What's Shark Tank? What's the first question out of their mouth? What are you selling this for? $12. What does it cost you to make it? Well, not one dentist could go on Shark Tank because Mark Cuban would say, "Oh, you sell a filling for $250. What's your cost?" They're like, "I have no idea." You
That's
know,
true.
I mean, if when not one dentist could pass Shark Tank, the industry is misinformed.
That's correct.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, yes. Look, I think this is a great opportunity to plug my new book.
Awesome. Did you write a new book?
I am almost done. It'll be published on Amazon, and it's called How to Build the Killer Practice on the Cloud.
And that's by Andy Jensen.
Yes.
And you heard it first on Dentistry Uncensored with Howard Farran.
That,
Did I hear this is breaking news on my show?
it's breaking news because, frankly, I still got to finish the last part, and then we'll get it on Amazon, and we'll be done.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you're done, you get the JPEG image of the book, the link to it on Amazon. You email it to me, howard@dentaltown.com, and I'll buy it, read it, do a review, and put on Dentaltown and all my social media deals. And it'll be I'll put it in front of 300,000 dentists.
Well, I'll take you up on that. If there's anyone who wants an advanced copy, don't want to wait for Amazon, they can just contact me. Be happy to send them something.
How do they contact you?
They can reach me at andy.jensen@curvedental.com. Jensen is with ease, true Scandinavian.
Jensen.
Correct.
So Scandinavia is 5 countries. What is it? It's Iceland, Denmark,
Sweden.
Sweden, Finland, and what's the fifth? Is it Greenland?
Don't
Finland,
know.
Sweden,
No.
Denmark, Norway.
Well, I guess, yeah, absolutely Norway.
Yeah, so Norway. So which when you're Scandinavian, which one were you? Norway, Iceland, Denmark, Sweden, or Finland?
Danish.
Denmark.
Yep.
And I have to say that it's so funny because I've been to 50 countries lecturing to dentists, and I think Scandinavia is the most advanced society in the world. And there's nothing more hilarious than to listen to some hillbilly from Kansas at my own family reunion talking about the damn socialist and socialized medicine and those damn Scandinavians. And I'm like, dude, that's like they're living like 100 years in the future from your hillbilly ass in Parsons, Kansas. And I do. I think if they could move Scandinavia down to Phoenix, Arizona latitude, my God. I mean, I wouldn't want to live there because it's only light like 4 hours a day during the winter.
Well,
And
maybe that's why they're so advanced, and they got plenty of time to think about stuff because it's too cold to go outside.
well, it's actually true. I went to Creighton for undergrad, and I always said it was the best university in the world because 100 times me and my four buddies that are now all dentists, we'd look out the window and it was so overcast, freezing, cold, sleet. We just decided, oh, might as well just stay in and study. And in Scandinavia, it's a double curse because during the winter, most dentists say the best thing to do is just work 6, 10 hour days and just crank. And then when it warms up and you have this beautiful July and August, and tourists like me want to go there, almost nothing's open because everybody just takes off. I mean, the parks are just covered with people laying out and playing frisbee, and you go to restaurants and half of them are closed, and the ones that are open only have like 2 staff members working. And you can't get anybody to work in Denmark in July. I mean, it's their so yeah, it's an amazing country. I just love that place. Then the obvious question: where's the name Curve Dental come from? Is it a curveball? Is it a softball term? Are you throwing him a curveball with the cloud?
Trying to, definitely throw in the profession of curve. In the folklore is that when they're looking for the name of the company, they needed to find something that was going to be unique, but also descriptive of what they were doing. And Curve made sense. It was a unique name, Curve, and at the same time, they're going in a different direction. They're curving around the status quo, I guess.
Okay. So anything else, or is that a wrap?
Well, I sure appreciate being invited to talk to you. It's always a pleasure.
And what was the name of your book one more time?
How to Build the Killer Practice on the Cloud.
And you can get that at curvedental.com, C-U-R-V-E dental.com, or email andy.jensen, Jensen, at curvedental.com. Andy, I've known you for a decade or more, and I think you're a legend. I think you're very smart. No, I do. No, my friends in the industry think you're just one of the smartest guys in the industry. So
Well,
thank you so much for
thank you.
spending time with me today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.